Hi, this is Roger Smith, True Blue Lounge, and today I have a great guest, Donald Gordon, a 1985 graduate of Mannings School. Please like and subscribe because I'm going to like how to handle me. And without further ado, here is Donald. Mr. Gordon, how you do, sir?
Greetings, Roger. Greetings. Jamaica, greetings.
Nice. That more I
I
hear,
know
that more I hear.
right now you probably don't want that greetings like two jackfruit and two mango and you know. Yeah,
Yes. Memories, you know? Yeah,
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 man.
man. So, Mr. Gordon, 1985. All right. So, tell me something. So, where in Westmoreland do you come from, sir?
All right. I am from Hertford, Westmoreland, and then I moved down to live with my uncle in Amity because I lost my father when I was 8 months old. He was electrocuted whilst working at JPS. And then my uncle had an uncle and an aunt living in Amity. So every holiday, probably every weekend, I would have gone to Amity between either. And then when I was almost to my ninth birthday, I went and lived with my uncle in Amity, you know?
Donald, when you talk about Amity, you know, people think say Amity and Heaven, well, not Heaven, Amity and Hartford are miles apart. If I remember right, a one crossroad and then at the next crossroad.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, you know?
So we are talking about 1 mile, 2 miles away.
Yeah. Well, if you're at the crossroad, it's no mile away, you know.
Yeah,
It's
man, yeah,
like a
man.
border right there. But from where I was living, it could have been just probably a mile and a half or so away,
Okay.
from Hartford to the family residence in Hartford.
So what primary school did you go to?
Oh, the dreaded unity, Dabby
Yes,
Dobson.
man. Yes, Miss
Dabby
Dobson.
Dobson.
Yeah. So when you were going to school, you were getting flogged them time there?
I guess what happened now. This is me, I can't. I I I am so much that I can't keep still. I can't keep still, man. I always have to probably talk. I always have to show a sign. I always have to get up. So you don't know if I do that, then there's going to be some brushing coming.
Yes. All right. So, Unity School, cool. I went there as well. With I don't know if you know Gabby Coot and them man that was in there. Yeah.
Boy, Gabby did me a displeasure of unity.
Eh?
Yeah, he was older than I am. So there was a guy named Dave Soup Up. I don't know if you know that name.
Uh.
Right, he wasn't on the same shift with Gabby. But guess what? Because I was younger, probably I think I was at grade 1, they were at grade 5. And I think Gabby was at grade 5 too. So, behind the school where those toilets were, there were plenty of orange trees and coconut trees.
Yes.
So I was hanging out there with Dave, with a number of older boys, and boys and boys, so them, and there were a number of them from Stratbogie. So them, with them little cigarette and whatever, a young boy them. And Gabby could came around there and saw me around there with them, man, and go report to Mr. Dobson. Yo, me I tell you, as a grade 1, I get some whop up from Gabby for smoking. And I wasn't part of the smoking, but they were bigger boys. And because
I'm going to make Gabby Coot. I'm going to make Gabby Coot personally apologize for informing upon you. You know.
well, I don't I apologize. I saw him at the football game the other day. Boy, Mr. Garden, boy, I can't move. I don't know if I might turn if you turn it around,
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, let me ask you this. So part of this is to get to know you and people get to know you as well.
Yeah, man.
Can you name 5 guys and 5 girls in your first form class at Mannings?
Pete Simmet, Mark Rary, Oral Watson, Glenford Graham, Dean Lawrence. You want me to continue? Owen Roden. I could
My,
do that. And
the
then
head good. Your head good. Give me some of my girl them.
Corinne Fraser, Jacqueline Tomlinson, Suzette Smith. And I could go Carleen Woolry. I could go all along, man.
All right, no, hey, cognitively, you look like you're still there, 'cause guess what? A whole heap of we a drop off slow. You know, some of we not, can't remember when we have for breakfast. You know, so
Exactly. It's
yeah.
very true.
Man like me, I have to go looking at the in the kitchen sink to see how we were eat earlier. You know. Yeah. So going to school. So let me think. 1985. So you were okay. We were. I'm a little bit ahead of you. So in the 80s, very early 80s, it was kind of a tough time in Jamaica. Very tough time. So when we got Unity School at them times when you buy flour and they were marrying it with butter beans and all them thing there.
But that was one of the most crucial time in the history of Jamaica. And
Okay.
I want to tell you something, Roger. I like to be open and clear.
Yeah, man.
I I grew up. I went to Mannings 1980. I grew up during the 70s, running around and doing all that. But I tell you something, voices makes a lot for me. Voices. The first time I heard Obama speaking, I said no, and I looked. He didn't have a script, and I said this is a protege of Michael Manley. And just listening to Michael Manley as a youngster, I became that Michael Manley person. And then I started to really listen a little bit more of Michael Manley, how he really, what he meant for Jamaica and all that. And my affiliation was non-family. Because I don't know, at that time I didn't know anything about family and their connections. And I never grew up that kind of way. Until today, I couldn't tell you what political party my mother supports. I couldn't tell you. And I was living with my mother. I couldn't tell you going to live with my uncle if they had any political connection. But I became a Michael student during that dreaded 70 periods when I was to leave from Amity to Stratbourg to buy anything, and the shopkeepers were marrying and all that, So I know exactly what it is. I know how difficult that period was, as a youngster going through, very dreaded period. Until today, our country, Jamaica, has not recovered. Despite all that there is, we have never recovered from all that. I can remember after the 1980 elections, and I would have seen people moving things to the dump that they had hidden from the people. Yeah, man. I was young, but had knowledge because I grew up in a family where vehicle was there because my uncle was working at JPS, so he had a vehicle all around. So we would have moved around and would have seen persons going to the dump because everybody used to drive down to Russia to dump the goods. So all the goods that they hid from the people, all the goods, rice, flour, everything that Jamaica bought, cash bought, and it was not sold. So simply means that it came as a waste. And
Donald, I'm going to make you hold that thought, but I'm glad because I'm going to have to ask you some deep questions after. But let me find a little bit about you. So when you, I may have to tell you this. While I've been doing these interviews with Mannings people, I didn't know that patty and cocoa bread was such a staple, meaning when we talk to some man who would graduate all in the 60s, a patty and cocoa bread didn't talk about. And when we talk about people know.
I think I heard Roger Walcott talking about that patty and cocoa bread.
Yeah, I never know say it was so big for so much years that way I feed pan down there.
I had a friend who came to visit from New York the other day, and he said, "Man, I got a patty and a cocoa bread and a box drink. Come here, I tell you." This was like a few months ago.
Yeah.
It's so much a part of us them time there until now. It's just that I am not eating beef patty that way anymore. But I have a chicken patty with a cocoa bread.
All right. So meals wise, what's your favorite? What's your go-to food? If somebody cook your food that say you enjoy yourself, or what you want?
I don't have nothing. I am easy to be fed.
Nice.
Very. I love a curry goat. I love my ackee and saltfish or ackee and corn pork. I love my chicken back and dumpling, Yeah.
Labor right food that,
Yeah, I love and dumpling. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Nice. So what about drinks?
Who, man?
Yeah.
I love my leg wash.
What is that, sir? Leg wash.
Yeah, man. I love my leg wash, my sugar with my lime.
Oh, we call it belly swanger.
From
Sugar
that.
and water and lime. Yeah.
Yeah, man. They love that.
1980s. It's from that austere times where we start, when no, people couldn't afford soda and all them thing there, you know. Sugar and water and squeeze some lime in it, and the best thing now, a piece of ice, you know.
I
Yes,
can
yes.
Must I tell you? Must I tell you? Yeah, man.
So, Mr. Gordon, when you left, so talk to me about what you've done since you've left school, and just make we walk the path with you, and let me know how go on, and tell me how you got from Hertford to Mannings, which bus you used to take, how you go. You used to boom drive, you used to ride bicycle, how you go school.
All right. As I told you, during primary school, I left Hartford during primary school, went to live with my uncle in Amity. In the mornings, he would have taken us to school. He was working at JPS, so he would have been going to work, so he would have taken us to school. And then we would have to take the bus to get back home. Right. So we took the bus home and all that was. But doing I am probably one of those lucky ones. I consider myself to be very fortunate. I with there's a little thing on my shoulder as it relates to Mannings and relates to my principal Herbert Nita. And that opportunity I got from Nita, no other student or no other set of persons of Mannings would have gotten that opportunity. I was never, ever a troublemaker at Mannings, but I was always involved into something somewhere. I wasn't part of no extracurricular clubs or anything like that because when school over, I had was to go home. Because we did a number of farming activities back home, so we had was to go home just after. Never played sports. I was invited to play cricket at Fort Farm for to come to trials and training, but that could not have been because I had was to go home. But during my time at Mannings, we were able to form a group whilst being a part of the student body. We formed a group. I'll never forget Low Riders. You had a group named Pink Ladies, and then we had a group named Low Riders. But Low Riders would have had children going to watch movies, collecting those monies. And when we went to Miss Anita, told him what we're all about, he took us over to Workers Bank on Savannah Plaza, owned an account. He was a signature, I was a signature to an account. And that meant a lot to us as students doing all that. We repaired the lawn tennis court because that was the intentions we had as students that them time. And went through Mannings, I learned so much. And I tell you one good thing about what we had, and I wish that these students at Mannings could have had this opportunity, Roger, in that we were allowed to keep activities. So for Valentine's, you'd have been doing something when you're at fifth form, especially, and you'd have been raising funds. So that became so much a part of you, raising funds for your graduation dinner ball and main graduation day. So we became rounded students. Now these student parents have to just pay out a package, which I think is the wrong way because children do not learn, does not develop that ability of thinking as to how to really, really become a part of something. And I would really want them to go back to the direction, allowing them to do things to raise, to do all. But after I left Mannings, I went to I became a part of a family business. We had a supermarket up in Grangel, and I was there with the family. And then I went out into Rambo to work to supervise a farm at hardware. And I did a stint at ComC before all that. And then I went to JPS now, where I spent just a month, about 19 years at JPS. JPS became a part of a part of us somehow. My father worked there, my uncle worked there, then I came. And one day my son said, Daddy, I wanted to work at JPS, but that never materialized. And after leaving JPS, I entered politics. I was elected councillor of the Petersfield Division. And then I am now into entrepreneurship, business, farming, and into lumbering also. But most of my time I've spent probably close to probably about 35 years or more into charities. I've become a part of charities left, right, and center. I won the Curry Festival for 2 years, which probably could have been the most profitable period of the Curry Festival. I was part of the Jamaica Cuba Friendship Association. I was I did administrative work at the Westmoreland Football Association for probably about 20 years. I was part of the community development entities that there is. Um, I was parish advisory chairman for the Westmoreland 4-H. I was IAC chairman, right? Island Advisory Council chairman for the 4-H movement, and currently I am chairman of the Jamaica 4-H Foundation. I'm currently chairperson for that, and I am since 1990. I've been active with the Mannings class of '85. We have had three stellar events back then that we had actually made contributions to the school. And I think we were the very first as a year group to contribute to the old building some years ago when they said that it really needed repair. So we have done so much. You know, we were the first person probably to have Richie Stevens performing. I spoke to Richie the other day for asking him to be available for our reunion now, but unfortunately he has a tour within that period of time. You know, we Mannings 85 was the very first year group, or did the very first promotion that brought bigger soft drink to Westmoreland on any promotions. You know, so I have been involved in many things over that period of time.
So tell me a little bit about the farming. What kind of animals we're talking about?
All right, I do piggery, a little bit of goat rearing, and I'm into cattle, and I do sweet potato, yeah, potato, and I'm hoping to venture. Well, I'm actually trying out now for pineapples and cassava.
So Donald, tell me something. When I was younger, there was a big difference between white hog and black hog, or you know. Do you remember them times? Like the
Yeah,
black
man.
hog, the white hog, them used to you have to put them in a
Yeah, whatever.
nag house, and the black hog. So, can you talk to me a little bit about that? I want to know. When I was young, they used to cut the hog seed as well. Why were they doing that?
All right, they cut the seeds, the castration, because they didn't want those pigs to really breed up the other ones. So it was to reduce breeding amongst pigs based on the space that they were at. And for some people, they tell you that it allows them to put some weight on, you know, because when pigs are in heat, the male pigs tend to lose a lot of weight, you know, because they want to serve, they're not eating as much as they would. And it happens generally. Probably it happens to you, Raja, during that mating season that you will not even eat much as to whatever because you really want to get on with it, you know. So it becomes part of the male race in that regard, right? A lot of time because then you had black pigs. When I was really young, I never saw white pigs. When I was really young, everybody would have been rearing black pigs, and these black pigs would have been tied on the trees and all that, and we would have given them peels from the kitchen, or we cut up breadfruit, or cut dasheen, dig it up somewhere, or banana, chop it up, boil it with
So it's funny you use the word peels. We used to call it peeling skin.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, right, and do all that. I remember when my aunt was doing that, and when they slaughter the pig, we'd have to get dasheen leaf or banana leaf when they cut the pig and all that right through the head, that they would have taken out the spine, where we call marrow, and even back up in the head of the pig, which is the brain. And then we as little children would have gotten that part, and we go fry it up in a one little pan, one little bun pan. So that was how we grew up, and we grew up in an exciting time that we were very playful, riverful, playful, everything that we would have been doing. Today, nothing like that. Parents have caged your children, not wanting them to be associated with other kids because of whatever. But guess what? It leaves these children as enemies of themselves whenever time they meet.
So, so a couple of times I've been to Jamaica. I even had to pay a $500 because a little goat came out in the road on me,
Yeah.
and I can't seem to understand why. Two things I'm going to ask you about
Yeah.
because now me getting to talk to you, I think there's so much we could talk about. So I'm going to be all over the place. Two things I want to talk to you about. Why is it somebody can't get one big pound, an animal pound, or a butchery, wherein if your goat get away and is a problem on the road, somebody takes it and maybe them turn curry goat and you get to the school them or something. Why is that not happening? And another thing is, when you see the young youth them on a bike, 15 or 16-year-old on a like a Honda 50 I ride up and down with no helmet. What make you seize the bike them and resell them to somebody that's gonna wear a helmet?
Um, Roger, I'll give you my take on those things because I, I I probably think a little bit wider. I think development. Whenever time I think, I look at means and ways as to how Jamaica could get better. How could we become more accountable for just about everything? As you mentioned, in terms of the animals, I know that it's part of the Parish Council Act to establish pounds and doing all that. But there has to be a further development of the policy in terms of pounds because sometimes what you pound transporting the animal to a pound probably cost you more than what the animal value because you're going on a sweep. You'd have to sweep 5, 6, 10 goats probably to pay the pickup driver or the truck driver for whatever there needs to be. But as I said, the policy document has to be different. That if I keep him, if I am in keep of this animal, nobody claims for a 1 month period or there has to be a time frame. Then you can dispose of that and allow that amount to help to maintain the pound. We really need to look at that. But at the same time, you can't really, there's so much hanky pankies could happen along that period of time. And it could become very troublesome. But we really need to really establish the rules and the enforcement aspect of it becomes priority. As it relates to these guys on the bikes, not no helmets, some not licensed, and all that, it's something of concern to many a persons. Um, but at the same time, you can't catch them sometimes. You can't catch them because you can't allow to put other persons at risk in a chase like that. Because the biker could lose a life, the police in the chase, plus other persons that are along that route may be endangered. And I've seen a lot of bikes being taken, but there is no proper time frame that is placed on these bikes for them to be disposed of, right? And we have to move fast, right, in order to improve our country. The police stations now are becoming hoarding space. They could become rat zones if we're not careful because of what is going on there. There's a there's a pound at the NAA office in Sav, and I can tell you it is the police station is worse. The Savlamar police station, believe me, it has no space. It doesn't have a courtyard as it used to have. It have a backyard within the space. So there's so much that we can do, but those who has the authority need to act fast and listen to the people on the street in order for us to go through. Because I don't think they really listen to the suggestions that the people have for us to really move forward as a country. And for me, Roger, this is one of the things that I'm advocating for. just like the US has states. I think despite the size of Jamaica, for us to, we had set a vision. We are now 3 years away, I think, or 4 years away from this vision of 2030 that we would have become a first world state. It is not going to be because we still have policy issues, and we really need. But I'll expand on that a little bit more as the conversations go through.
So you mentioned that that you are enamored by the speaking and the gift of gab that Michael Joshua Manley had. Did that did that allow you to choose what side, whether you're orange shirt or green shirt?
Yeah, yeah. I think he had. I think Michael Manley had an impact, and I will tell everybody he had an impact on me. And I said Michael was never family connected. After which I learned when I started. When I just imagine, I went to Mannings. Uh, I went to Mannings at age 12, moving to 30, right? And we went in September. October was general elections, 1980. But I was in my full flight as a first former, preaching on Michael Manley, preaching on us going forward because what I saw then and what I listened. So it had real impact on me. Today, I can tell you, I don't know how this came, but if you ask me to speak at an event, I try to ask a few questions, and that's basically me. I don't write nothing. I don't nothing. I try to just learn as much as I possibly can. Probably it's a rub off from Michael. I don't really read to say this.
So so I understand, at that time he was probably a really strong, influential, persuasive speaker. But do you identify any mistakes that he may have made in underestimating the Cold War and what said punishment would do to a small island nation like Jamaica that was very, very small, and we were just coming out independence.
I'll tell you something. I think what Michael Manley did, probably if the people who were with him had similar vision, then I think we would have in executing some of the things would have been different. He believed that the people really wanted something. He took the lands from sugar and he gave it to the people as farmers and said, as of now, you are part of this country's development. But what did they do? Those persons probably they weren't educated enough. They didn't really. They said they wanted, but when you put it to the test, they didn't know how. They weren't educated on what to do. A lot of them say it was my kid, and me have my cow, so me can't time in a my kid, not realizing the impact it would have had not producing the sugar that you would have wanted to produce. He brought a number of persons to the table, but they just didn't. And I recognize just the same way. I was in politics, and I realized a lot of people they talk, but they don't really want nothing. They don't really want to go forward. They just want a room. Some of them, and I talk, and I'm not afraid to say it, they want a room. Some of them, some want it for themselves, but doesn't want the community to be developed. And that was it. That was what Michael Manley faced then. Well, probably underestimated Edward Siaga and what he could have done. He didn't know that all that was happening. He didn't know all the things that they were happening at the time in terms of the relationship that Siaga had and the influence that the CIA he was believing. Because I'll tell you something, when Michael Manley died and Castro came, he said most people believe that he influenced Michael Manley, but it was Michael Manley who influenced him. It was Michael Manley who influenced the G15. It was Michael Manley on his tour that brought Mozambique and brought all these countries to start thinking of how to advance themselves. You know? So, yes, he did underestimate some aspect. He didn't know that the backlash would have been as what it is. But he learned. He wore a bush jacket during that time. And by '89, he was in jacket and tie. So he recognized something and started making adjustments.
You know, Donald, just listen to you talk, you seem very objective, so you be careful them, the orange people, them not put you out, because we make you walk by the other side of the road. Then good
They,
for that.
for life, I will be orange.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that I support everything. I am
Okay.
free to talk. I say whatever there needs to be, and that's just me.
So,
What just what, and this is general. Most people are afraid of criticism, but not realizing that criticism can build you from time to time.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I may tell everyone, may have a similar mantra as well, For me, shame tree dead long time, long time. So guess what? I can have these conversations. I
Right,
know, I know, I know some people that are so rabid in their political alignment
right.
that if I said to them, "Hey, tell me something that's really going on really well in Jamaica now under this administration," and because they support the PMP in this case, there's nothing good they can say. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna ask you a question. Your leader, Marcus Jefferson, tell me
Yeah.
something good about him.
I tell you something, and I just want to. I'm going to backtrack a little bit just to see. When I listened to Bruce Golding in his initial conversations coming up to 2007, Bruce had the information that I want. His ideology was something that I wanted for Jamaica. I would tell you that yes, but then Bruce realized that he bowed to pressure. I think in the COVID thing, I think Andrew Horne started out well, but then he led the country on a wrong path. Yeah, man, he led the country on a wrong path after a while because he started out well and all that. So I'll give him preps for wherever, but I'll tell him that he went wrong as things went on. Mark Jefferson Golding, I supported Mark for leadership of the party. When I heard Mark spoke for the very first time, I'll tell you how Mark and I had a conversation. I called Bunt. I, I was conceptualizing something, and I said, "This was me, no Roger." I said, "If we look at the budget and if we look at our tax system, what would it have been if we were to reduce income tax from 25% to say 20%?" And one of the reasons for that, I saw the research that Cuba did. We have a university of the West Indies. We have a hospital. We have a medical faculty at UWI. I said, what would it have been if we were to invest in research? So our country would have been better, right? And I spoke to somebody from the GLP, and I said I would not mind having a conversation with somebody from that side as to, they said that they were going to try and get me to talk with someone. It just never materialized. I keep asking, they say, me talk to somebody, man. Somebody soon talk back and say. So I took up my phone and I called Peter Bunting. And I said, Bunting, if we were to reduce income tax and then take that 5% and put into security as a special line item, as we did with the Housing Trust, NHT, and NIS. And then we would have had something that goes directly to security and something that goes directly to the health ministry. He said, call Golding, and he sent me Mark Golding's number. I spoke to Mark on it. And believe me, the conversation I had with Mark was something that drew me to him then. And when he ran for leadership, I jumped on and I supported him. Right? At the time, Lisa never even declared her. But Mark spoke, and Mark reminded me so much. And each time that Mark spoke, then I would have been saying, this is the protege of Michael Manley. This is the protege. And I think Mark have done well in sort of bringing back the party together, reuniting a number of persons. It may not go to everybody's way, right? But I think Mark has done well with that. And he is quick on the draw to rebut on a number of things. And I think I like that part about him. His rebuttal to things that are just not within. He have done his research and be able to explain himself in that real way. And that is what I really like about it.
Say something nice about the other party. Cause all you said was that you like how him start after COVID. So I'm just trying to see how objective you are.
No, no, no. As I said to you, Andrew Holness would have started out and would have drawn me to say, boy, at least, despite I am not supportive of him, well, I started saying, well, at least he started to manage the thing well. I am. It's very hard for me to say no. I tell you something. It's hard. It's going to be real hard. There are elements of the party that I do get on very well with. I looked at Westmoreland is going to be crippling, and I am telling you just now, Roger, Westmoreland is going to be crippling. I tell you what, the sugar industry was something that held the parish of Westmoreland together. Based on where tourism will never hold this parish together because there's such a separation between those who run the industry and those who work in the industry. The margin is way, 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 way out. The sugar industry, almost everywhere in Westmoreland you go, benefited from the sugar industry. Whether they wanted a tractor, they wanted something to well, they wanted an experience of something, you got it at the sugar industry. Now we have had a failed sugar industry now, right? I said to them, the only thing that will keep Westmoreland is a university. Because what is happening now, we are having a total drain. Everybody goes to Kingston, nobody comes back. Everybody goes to Kingston, nobody comes back. And I said to them that we wanted a university. And I'm using this to tie into the political part.
So Donald, you guys had you can hear me okay, Donald?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah. So you guys had power for like 18 and a half plus 4 more years. And Westmoreland, you could not even call it, I wouldn't call it a garrison, but it literally is a PMP place. Why do you think more wasn't done for that parish as the stepchild?
I wonder just the same way. I wonder just the same way. And sometimes we take those who are devoted and loyal to us for granted in trying to win around, in trying to win other spaces to stay in governance. I've had the opportunity whilst at JPS, and I could tell you possible for all the time that the PNP was in power. Right? I went to JPS 1991. I left 2010. So I'd have seen everything of the PNP in its dominance within 18 years. And I could tell you there are a number of things that was done. Just possibly that there are some things that could have been done that was never even brought to the doorways. Because for whatever reason there was, right? And I strongly believe that yes, there are some things that could have been done a little bit different if they really want to, if things were brought to the door in a better way. That's my personal take on it. There are some things could have been done different, Roger.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. You know, sometimes when you ask people questions, especially when I talk to Jamaican friends of mine, everything seems so far left, so far right. I actually believe that there's a line between Labour right and PMP, Democrat, Republican. And it's a very fine line to some people. And me and you may be neighbors, and we may want exactly the same things. Mm-hmm. And the only reason you're on that side of the line and I'm on this side of the line, remember, with kids I'm growing up, going to school together, right. We want the same things. And the only difference is that you may have seen a speech with Michael and I didn't. Or right. Michael's speech was had such an impact on you and I didn't have that experience. And that could be actually the difference between our politics. But yet we identify with the worst of the worst on the left side and the worst of the worst on the right, you know. And I think we forget that we're just humans trying to get through.
And that's what I was just trying to point to you. And I tell you about the university. And I reached out to a current member of parliament on several occasions just to have a conversation on eyeing a piece of land that we could look at a university. Not even the courtesy to say hello or something. I've done everything. I got the number from a JLP personnel, nothing at all. So I've said, something is wrong here. Something is definitely wrong here. You know, and I was texting because the parish is going to suffer if we don't put a university. Westmoreland must have a university to hold its people. The potential is
so Donald, can I be Roger and play devil's advocate with you? The JLP will say, nothing know better. Why not keep on voting in them PNP people and then I do not know. What you want to do is turn green and then you can expect hospital to look like a hospital and the road them for fix. But to keep on, that could be an argument. I'm just being Roger.
I'll just tell you something. Let me draw a first reference to you. Portia Simpson became a councillor in 1994 in what was considered a JLP bedrock. By 1976, Portia was able to turn that bedrock from the JLP to the general election. She was just a division, in 1974. But in 1976, she became member of parliament. So if you really want the thing to work, then you'll have to reach out. You get a foot in, take the foot, and allow the entire body to be there with you. That's my take to it.
You know what? That's a good answer, But remember, sometimes things are stagnant the way they are because a lot of people are eating food from the situation staying the same. You know what I mean? So let me ask you something. Why is it a lot of people in civil society, teachers and things like that, why are they all predominantly by proportional representation PNP in Jamaica? Why is that?
I wish I could tell you. Probably because of how they were grown. Probably because of... I can't tell you.
Government, tax office, all of them kind of people. Why are they all PNP? No, I'm just asking.
I don't think they are PNP. In 2016, they took on to the thing to say that 1.5 will do wonders. They voted JLP. So most of these civil servants, based on where the pendulum swings, they do swing based on the benefits that they will receive. And if you take them for a ride, you can't give them when it comes on to an election. They'll just leave you hanging there.
All right. Okay. Hey, you drink liquor? You drink rum?
Yeah, man.
Good. What's white rum or red rum?
No. Stanley and the Turbine says the white rum of the old man. I don't care where I am. I ain't old. I'll take some vodka. I am predominantly an Appleton person. I realize I'll get down in a little whiskey and all. But on a good day, I can really consume. But I tell you, right now I am probably drinking 5 to 10% of what I used to consume.
Okay. Well, I mean, everything in moderation, and as we get older, we have to take it down a little bit. My son dinner plate 3 times mine, but when me see muscle them, me say, well, he fi eat because he built like he need to cut cane, the way there. But I take it easy now in my old age, you know what I mean? So, but I eat so much.
If my son drinks a teaspoon of rum, he's gone.
Yeah, head gone. Then already feet, man.
Already. Right.
Tell me something, Donald. So we come from a proud academic institution, but what I feel sometimes, I don't know if it's because when you live in Jamaica or your mindset is so school, but I find that if a man used to have eat more patty than you at school, when them all see you as a big man, them are going like they're better than you. Or if you have a master's and him have a PhD, he look down upon you. Or if he used to get if he used to get better marks than you in a class. There's
Yeah.
just something, and I'm wondering, after I've been to 4 or 5 educational institutions, what is it about Mannings that caused that competitive spirit?
All right, I tell you something. Mannings was formulated in the minds by a will in 1710. And then by 1738, we had a construction. So Mannings would have been the oldest conceptualized school in Jamaica. But in terms of structure, somebody here said Mannings will make and him run go build a school based on all that. And we're still in that era of being the only school then. And for now, people are telling me that Mannings is still the only school in Westmoreland, the school. So nobody says Mannings High anymore. Everybody says the Mannings School. And it is what it is. But Roger, I am going to be surprising you though on this one. And I am not afraid to say it. But there's so much that is needed now in order for us to. I went on a mentorship program some years ago. And a high percentage of the class, very high percentage of the class, said that they were there because of their parents, not because of they wanting to come to Mannings. And we really need to have that fixed. Despite what education institution you go, then it's not the institution, it's about you that causes you to excel. But there's still a stigma as it relates to Mannings in terms of its history. And I think that is one of the things that really, really stand out. And for me, I would not mind if everybody I know probably goes through the doors of Mannings, right? But we really need to reel and come again as to how we need to get out of the times are changing, and we really need to get out of that cane field mentality. Whereas some people are still stuck into that, regardless of who they are still stuck into that. And your batchmate's mother said something to me whilst not to me to the session while she was invigilating CXCs some year ago. That's David Riggs' mother. She said something about Westmorelites, how they are. They would stop doing everything that they are doing to concentrate on something else. And this is the very same thing that comes to Mannings. Mannings will stop doing, people from Mannings will stop doing everything that they're doing to challenge you about Mannings. And I had a batchmate years ago, may God rest his soul, Ray Gavin. He did tracks in Mannings. And Ray, there was a netball match being played at Mannings. There was a little tree right at Mannings there, entering to the court. Right. And Mannings versus Mobay High. And Mannings was losing. And this Mobay High girl was cheering for Mannings. And Ray broke a switch from that and threatened to beat the girl for her to cheer for Mannings. And it tells you the connection, how deep-rooted people are about their institution. And I can tell you right now, it is dominoing across many other institutions now, that patriotism, that loyalty, that love for their school to grow. But as I said, Mannings was first, and Mannings will always be first.
So when you look at all these year groups and the way the structure of the alumni is, if you could start from a piece of paper, knowing that so many people have gone through this institution, different classes and whatever, how would you organize it differently, or does it need to be organized at all?
I'll tell you something, and I will say this without no apologies. I think what is really there is a greater connection between year groups, and it is putting the chapters at, because people are wanting to find themselves, and I want to may I just say that I believe that the class of 85 is a trendsetter of, of year groups working together. When we start putting ourselves together, there was the only other year group that was within that space was class of 78, class of with Henry Fogo and those. Because they would have traveled even abroad to unite and do all what there was. They were the only. Now we recognize that a number of year groups are popping up, wanting to reunite, wanting to make their contribution to the school, which I think is a great direction going. Tell you why. We had a meeting looking at the mentorship program just recent, and we had a few persons that were present. Roger Walcott, Oral Khan, Dwayne Daly from 86. Right. And I tell you something was mentioned. If you really want that school to go, probably one of the things that we really need to do, we really need to empower these year groups, but allow in terms of continuity, oversight, all that, we need to have the chapter, which is basically based around the school, have the chapter sort of playing that role. Because the conversation was that if you really want the school to do well, no, we may just have to look at streams. Currently, Mannings is an 8-stream school, 8 first form, 8 second form going right. And if you were to say, all right, those who are within the ones, so if you had graduated 71, 81, 91, 2001, then you would have been in charge. Mannings, they are using a color code now, say 1 purple. So you would have been at 1 purple, you would have been at 2 purple, you would have been at, you could do that. And then you do all the year groups you do all the, having those year groups being connected. And you'll realize that you will have a better school in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of the contributions, in terms of organizing in a better way. And I do believe that, yes, these year groups are very important now. And as Michael Palmer, former board chair, said, he says, 85 is a mother of reunion. So we take it that way and we keep going.
Boy, you're proud of that year. Hey, so I have about 3 more questions because we're running up on an hour. Even though I can talk to you for 10, but it already. So,
yeah.
So I'm gonna give you kind of 3 questions I'd like to ask you.
Yeah.
How damaged does that old building need to get before someone says the place full of duckants, it dry out, it's damaged, it bad, bulldoze it and start again using modern technology, more, wind resistant, stronger, better, and keep the essence of that age through, couple piece of lumber were good old type. But what I'm saying is, rather than year over year, contribute money, fry fish, keep dance, and all you can see is some zinc around the school now, and here one man a knock one nail. I mean, in whose lifetime will it be complete?
I can't speak much of the old building and the contributions that there are. I said we were the very first to have contributed 600,000, probably about 10 years ago, to that building. What I do know is that it's a protected site. It is part of the Heritage Trust. You can't do nothing. You'll have to find the monies to repair it because it becomes part of it. And I would want to probably use this platform, and I know there are a number of persons who will see this, to say that we're asking the government of Jamaica, whether PMP, JLP, to ensure that they make a contribution, to all these structures right across Jamaica, because it is protected by the Heritage Trust, but their contribution is basically nil. as it relates to repairs, and we really really need to ensure that something is done in that light. And so for that, I know they are on a fundraising drive. As I say, I can't say much of it. They are on a fundraising drive as to whatever goes on. They're on a fundraising drive to do something. The last thing I heard was some 77 million. I heard that they were doing the wicket as it relates to that country that they would have wanted. But each time that it delays, the costing moves and thing. But it is something I think that they would really want to repair. If you remove that building, then you basically would have been saying there's Mannings doesn't exist. Someone told me what they took. Just I was there for the Silla thing, that there needs to be a modern building that to be erected in that space, and with some a little bit of Georgian look. I don't know how you can get concrete into Georgian, but that's a concept just now. But some time ago, I know it came up where they were saying that they could have used it as a tourist attraction and allowed some revenue to come for its maintenance. I don't know where they are. It's a board issue as to whatever they're doing. So I don't get involved into that aspect of it, none at all.
Okay. Okay. Are you a religious man, Mr. Gordon?
Man?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Very much religious. Not someone who has been dipped in the water, but very religious, as I believe that there's a super being. And there are things that I've seen happen that I would have called upon my creator.
Tell me when early in your life you were introduced to this way of life.
No, man, I listen a lot, I listen a lot. I am not a great reader, but I listen a lot. And I move along based on that. I attended Torrington. I'm a holinist. I attended Torrington Church, and I was asked to become a part of the youth group YMWB, and people from time to time. And I can tell you, persons like a George Carr, persons like a Oral Khan, they would have been part of, a little bit older, that they would have been trying to influence you to move in a little different directions. But as I say, I still have that belief in my creator. For whatever it's worth, I still believe that yes, there's a hand on my shoulder. There's that level of control, and I continue along that vein. I don't know when things will change. I know that there will be changes coming, further changes, but I can't say when.
Do you want to be cremated or buried?
Bury me, man. And bury me. Most you can keep me most of 2 weeks, but no longer.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
I hope your family will watch this and they know, because they have a way, they want to keep you on ice for all 3 months, because people are foreign need to come.
Who want come? It's not about who wants to come. The only thing that could have caused that would have been the fact that if you never had illness and say an accident or so, then they may. But if they can push it, Baba. 2 weeks. I would rather 2 weeks, if that. That should give everybody enough time to really look to travel if they need to be there. For me, it's not about how many people may come. My aunt said to me that when my father died, 1968, until today, it would have been the largest funeral they would have seen. 1968, the largest funeral they would have seen in the Hertford community.
So tell me this: when you're saying 2 weeks, but I'm looking at it as, if it's 3 months, that means there's more setup. If there's more setup, there's more beer, more food. People that dig grave, they take their time dig it because they have a lot of time. And there's a lot going on. And I believe some of these rural communities love this thing here. So you got to talk about 2 weeks, man. You know how much people are out dead for hungry because of that?
I tell you something, as I say, my concept of life is totally different. If I could have gotten a backhoe and trench out 5 graves, and when somebody ready, the only thing they need to do is render it up, because the burial spot at my grandmother's place is in we don't want it full up too quick, because enough of it. You know? So me know the long one. I believe that when people have dead, people should be bringing things, not coming to take away from it. No, I don't believe in this elaborate casket. I don't believe in this elaborate funeral where you have to dress up in church and care man who never know you, and who come and come tell lie for you and say you were a good man, and just I don't we are talking. I don't. No. Fuck. No, you have to tell me, no, Roger. Roger, if you don't like this conversation, say you don't like it.
No,
But
I
no,
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
whatever. No. This is just no boss. No. When you come and preach down your whole place and I do whatever you have to do, I want long old tribute. 100 man want to give tribute and me can't hear what I say about. No.
Hey, you forget your tribute them now. Every day
No.
you do a rumba, you get your tribute, you know? Yeah, man.
This brings me, and that's your last question?
No. So so do you want to be, so why you don't want them burn you?
I know nothing about burn. I want people to see me face when me see me look for me and put me
Seriously?
down. Yeah, man. Yeah, want the people who didn't see me for a long time and then come up funeral. Look for me and put me down, Roger. Don't burn me up, burn me for what? After me, I do so much bad. Yeah, say, you always say, fire go burn your brimstone and fire. If you get fire with me dead.
Oh boy.
Roger,
What do you think happens to us after, when we die?
I don't know. Nobody has ever come to say. So sometimes I hear pastor talk about it and he say Bible say and whatever there. That's the only part where I read. I just tell everybody that I make plans for next year. My wife doesn't make no plan. She tell us say only if she live and whatever there is. As I say, everybody has their own little piece of things. But I don't know what it is. No one has ever gone and come back and say, down there, no stay good or up there, so nice. And what we're just talking about what they read. But I do believe that when you plant a seed and a seed grows, that tells me that there's something. When I look at some children how spitting of an image they are to a man or a woman, it tells me that there's a greater being. And for me, I am guided by those things.
Okay. That's a nice kind of direction, you know, to be in. So given that you don't know where you're going when you die and no one's come back, do you think it's our fear of dying that allows us to grip onto, you know, religion and things like that?
There's a little thing that they would have said, Roger. If you push everybody goes to worship in the church, the gunman comes and says, who is willing to take a shot for Jesus? He probably only left a pastor and probably 2 out of 50 were in the church. Okay, everybody around out of the church. Them no want no shot for Jesus. And them not ready for death. Because of how we are we are doctrinated. You know? That only if it come, whatever, but all of them are prepared if it die. All of them. And sometimes the people who cause the most issues are the people who goes to church. Insularity in the church is tall that it can't tall no more. Tall. A lot of people who goes to church and they are pastors, they are whatever. They would rob thief everything with them see, just for their families and their close associates. But the poor who don't have nothing, he now say, boy, I may have one acre, so come here, let me give you one little piece. And yet they believe that God gave them everything, but they now plan to give them.
Yep.
So they make God look biased. Yeah.
I have one more searching question for you.
Yeah.
When you think of the future, given the trajectory that Jamaica's going now, them say the bank book, the book, the budget looking good, there's enough money, poor people are going to be able to eat. Looking at the trajectory of what you believe Jamaica is going now, are you very hopeful for the future, irrespective of who wins the election?
I tell you something, Roger. This is my take, and I say this is my position. And I would want to believe that this could have been the position of Mark Golden in time to come. In terms of the direction of a country, I do believe that both governments should sit at the table, both leaders should sit at the table and say, these are the offices that will be here. We can't go nowhere beyond. We need to establish 20 offices, and so therefore you only are going to have 20 MP with assistants, right? Because what is happening now is that you're having Minister of Sports, Gender, something else, something else, something else. 5 different something. If that government loses, next man come, it is Minister of Sports and Community Development. So all the things that should have been dealt with, my file went in, it got missing because the ministry mash up. So therefore, you're going to have to look where them put it now and hoping, say, whatever goes on. We need to solidify the offices, the cabinet that runs the country. It's a must that we have to do that. Solidify that office that runs this country. And the other thing is that if you elect a member of parliament, how can a member of parliament goes into parliament, makes a decision without consulting me? You need to come back to the space and say, keep your town hall meetings to say that this is what we are proposing. This is what is proposed in the House, and we need to consult in order for us. Because I sent you there to represent me. So if you're going to make a decision, like a lawyer, the lawyer can't make a decision for me in a court without consult me. The lawyer would create a breach. And those are the things I think that is actually holding this country back, because you're putting in jail time for the people. But the people don't know what jail time is there for them. They don't know. So it's when you buck up yourself, 15 years for a man catch you with gun. Mm-hmm. But guess what? There's an next clause in a hit for exempt some people. But the lawyers won't take down. So we really need to balance the thing. And therefore, then I believe the people will have hope. I don't believe in cutting the verges. I don't believe government should cut verges. Mm-hmm. I believe government should build roads and build drains and create an atmosphere. If you have a piece of land, why me need to come with a road, come cut it? No, it's your responsibility. Because if a man go put up a little shack on it, you're going to say it's your space. So it's your duty to maintain that. Mm-hmm. Right? So therefore, we're looking at national development as we go forward and see if we know better. We will need better roads. Most of our roads, if you go down into the resort areas, they have a sidewalk, but there's no sidewalk for the nationals to move around. Their security is threatened. Mm-hmm. Right. So we need some development. I don't think the money in the budget is going to be, because there's going to be coming 2 other budgets before the financial year is out again. Mm-hmm.
Hey Donald, I'm really honored that you came on my platform to allow us to have a chat.
There, I just want to do information. On the 26th of June to the 5th of July, class of 85 will be having their reunion, their 40th reunion. And in this 40th reunion, we are recognizing on our gala, we are recognizing 40 individuals and organizations that have contributed, whether you were a teacher, an administrator, an auxiliary staff, a PTA staff, you're from the corporate community. Yes, we are recognizing 40 in our 40th year. And this is beyond. And there are some names that you'll be surprised at whatever that happens here. Persons, Beres Hammond and his music took us through high school, so Beres will be recognized. Class of 85 will be recognizing Beres. Class of 85 will be recognizing Bank of Nova Scotia, recognizing National Commercial Bank, just to name a few, because of the contribution they have made to Mannings in terms of employment plus financial contribution. So we think it is right on us to build on something for us to go forward again. And we're looking for that. So We have a welcome party on the 26th of June. We have a mentorship program that we are engaging all alumni of Mannings. All alumni, whether you're of Mannings or not. If you're even a member of the PTA, we are inviting everybody on the 27th of June to come out. Let us talk to the children, and we'll be closing that with a celebrity hour, and we're looking at a 1 hour, not a show, but a presentation by some celebrities within a 1 hour period on the 27th. Then we go to church service at the Petersfield Anglican on the 29th of June, followed by a brunch, and then we have we wanted to do a Remembrance Day, but the school has other things on their agenda. So we'll be doing a project launch because we're looking to construct 2 classrooms on top of the G Science lab. So therefore, we would have completed a 5th form stream all the way upstairs. Right, you'd have had a 5th form block from Prescott to Mumby, then to this area. On the 2nd, I think it is. Yeah, on the 2nd, we'll be having a family fun day between Little Bay, Hideaway, and Jam West. And then on Friday, the 4th of July, we will be having a sports day at Mannings. And then we move to the Grand Gala at Sean Lavery on the 5th of July. So it's 10 days with 6 major activities. And between those days, people have river party, people have family this, people have all things. And I must say, it is a total inclusion of everybody, right? So nobody is excluded from our activities. Just contact us, and ticket sales will be up within the first week of April. So if possible, Roger, you really need to come and get some chicken back and dumpling when we have something.
That's a good time.
Yeah, man. Very good time to be here.
Yes, man. Yes, man. Once again, really thank you very much for spending some time so I can get to know a little bit about Mr. Gordon and what goes on. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You're most welcome, Roger.
All right. Respect, Mr. Boss. Cool.
Respect and manners, yeah.
All right.